Test completion. So what is test completion? The activity that collects data from completed test activities to consolidate experience, test where facts and numbers. Yes. So what are the major tasks we have in test completion? Create test summary report. Yes. So when you complete testing, you need to generate a report indicating each and every test activities you have done during the project. Okay. Closing defect report. So you have generated reports, defects reports. You need to close it. So you can hand over to the maintenance team. Raising change requests for remaining open defects. Yes. Raising change records for remaining open defects. So when you are testing during the development phase, you might have raised hundreds of defects and number of defects. These defects won't be closed or fixed the same time. Yes, some of the defects might be low priority within less critical. So the business might have decided, let's make the system live. During the live, we will fix these defects. Yes.
Yes.
So you can't close these defects. Yes. So you need to keep it open, but you need to change records. So before you hand over to the maintenance team, hand over, these are the open defects you are passing to the maintenance team so they can follow it up. Yes.
Yeah.
Documenting the acceptance of the system. So you as a test manager, you are the one of the test management team, the testing team, they generate an acceptance report stating that you are happy with the system. As a test manager, if you are not happy with the system, then what happens? You can still delay. Yes, you need more testing until there could be so many people in the project, but you are the test manager and you are responsible of testing activities. So you can say you are not happy with the system because there are that many defects there. The system is unstable. The system is not stable. Yes. So until and unless you are satisfied, you can still say. So if you are satisfied, you need to put in the reports in your evidence. Based on the evidence, you say that the system is acceptable.
Okay.
Finalizing and archiving testware and test environment. Yes. Yes. So during the testing activity, you have used tools, you have tested a software or an application, you have configured, you use some databases, you use some format, everything you have used. You need to finalize and store them so you can pass to the maintenance team. So as for example, during your testing activities, you might have version 1, version 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to whatever you have done. Yes.
Yeah.
For your test plan, test cases, the system, the tools you are using, anything. Yes. This is part of version control. Yes. So you need to finalize, you store them and pass it to the maintenance team. Handing over the testware to the maintenance organization. Yes. Everything I will say instead of just testware, hand over activities and documents to maintenance Team or maintenance organization, they say, yeah. So all the deliverables you have worked, yes. Whatever you are delivering during the test project is called testware. Yes, deliverables. So all these deliverables you need to pass to the maintenance team. Yes. So what are the testware includes? If you want, you can write testware includes documentations, any documents you have prepared, the scripts you wrote. Yes, so testware anything, yes. Covers documents, any deliverables, you can simply say documents, scripts, the test data you have, you have stored the expected results, how to set up the environment, setup guide, yes, test procedures, any files, any databases, any environment in version wise, yes, and any other software you are using, yes, like you have used Selenium, IntelliJ, with this everything, they are all known as testware. So they're testing tools you are using, you need to hand over to the maintenance team. When you are doing it, you must have, when you have doing testing, you must have learned something during the project, yes.
Yeah.
So you need to analyze the lessons learned. Why? So during the project, you might have made so many mistakes, you might have done something in a better way, you might be heavier. So these lessons you have to analyze so you can use them in future, yes.
Okay.
So you can use them in future, yes, in the next project means. So using information gathered to improve test maturity. So you can use this information for test maturity for the next project, yes. When you work for any project, these projects last for only few years, and then you move to another project. You might move to a new project, means a different project or similar project, but you can use this kind of exercise so you can improve the maturity of the next project or the same project. You can use this information in future anywhere in any project, yes. That's why we know that why we need experienced people, because they have learned from this their experience, so they can reuse this kind of experience and improve the processes.
Yeah.
Any question?
What is the closing defect report?
So you have a defect report, yes.
Yeah.
So whenever you generate any defect, when you raise any defect, you put in a note that this is open defects, closed defects. So every time you have a report generated, that many defects are there, that many open defects are that in this new version, this many defects have been fixed, you have retested, everything would be there. So you are working, you need to follow it up. This is an open report, yes.
Okay.
Every time there is a new version, you are going to look into that report, but now you are closing it. So that this is the end from our story. Now this is the maintenance team. You are, or you will be responsible of everything. Yes. The next topic is a raising change record. So for the whatever defects we have kept open, yes, we will pass to the maintenance team and we will state in the reports itself these are the open defects, but you need to change them. Instead of open, we will say these defects are passed to the maintenance team. It's a new status.
Okay.
Any other question?
No. Thank you.
Okay, so next topic is possible iterations. So whenever you work in a testing, we have talk about these phases. Yes, in the first phase is test planning. Yes, you planning, monitoring, and control. The next phase is test analysis and design. Yes. The other one is test implementation. And the execution, test execution, okay, and test completion. So you have these 5 phases. So during execution, you are executing a test and you find this test case is incorrect. Yes.
Yeah.
If you find this test case is incorrect, then you end up going to any phase. During this, you find that during execution, you say this test case is incorrect, but you say that this is misunderstanding of the requirement. Yes. So you can start from test planning again, or test analysis and design, test implementation, and test execution. So let me explain step by step so you can understand. You are executing a test case and you found this script is incorrect. This should not be the order incorrect of order of test execution. Yes. If you think that this order of test execution is incorrect, then what you do, you go to the test implementation phase and redesign the order. Yes, rework the order of execution. During test execution, you found the test case is incorrect. Then what you will do, you will go to test analysis and design phase. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you need to redesign the test case, you can redesign the test case. If you need to modify the test case, you can modify the test case. If you find your understanding of the requirement was incorrect, then it is the same phase. This is called test analysis. Yes. So you analyze the requirements and rewrite the test cases. Yes.
Yeah.
During your test execution, you found this planning is incorrect. You need to change the exit criteria, entry criteria. Yes. If you need to, during execution, so many people are executing, one person is executing, doing much work and another is lacking behind, then you need to go to the planning phase and replan the test execution activity or any activities you are doing in the current phase. Any question?
No.
So there is one task, how you can be a good tester. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's discuss the mindsets of testers. Mindsets. So we have 2 roles. Yes.
Yeah.
One developers and another role testers. Yes.
Yeah.
So when you find a defect, the tester won't like it. Yes. So that's why we have the 2 different mindsets. So if you find a defect and if you raise it,
Yeah.
the developer will think that you might have done something wrong. So let's see what is the one say. Software is of acceptable quality. Whenever the developers build a software, they will say it has a good quality. The software will be acceptable. Yes.
Yeah.
This is the developer's mindset. Developer will always see that the software will work. Yes, will always work, will tend to look for what works, and developers will always find a way that works. Yes, tend to look. Yes, and whenever you find the defects, they stop there. That means these defects stop them because they have to look into the defects and fix them. So they think that the testers are too negative and pedantic. Yes, testers are negative. We always think of negative. We are pessimistic.
Okay.
Yes. But whenever we find a defect as a tester, we become happy. Yes.
Yeah.
So what we think as a tester, whenever we have a new release, and in the release meeting, if they have decided, they declare that this software is very good, it does not have any defect, it's very good. Yes. But the software will, testers will think the software always contain defects. Yes. Whatever quality software you give to the testers, they will say, okay, they will say it will have defect. It won't work. Yes. What we will say, it won't work. As a tester, whatever quality software it is delivered to tester, the tester will say it won't work. And what we'll say, we tend to look for what does not work. Testers always look for what does not work. Yes. And we think developers are too optimistic as a testers. Yes. Even if you are given a software which has a good quality, we have the test cases, we have experience of testing a software, and that's why we will test in a way that which does not meet the requirements. And if it does not meet the requirements, we will raise defects. Yes. And when we raise defects, then you will say this has a good quality, but still we found defects. Yes. At one place it will break, and you will as a tester send the software back and say, see, you were saying that it works, but we identified it has got so many defects and it is not working. It won't work. Yes. Any question?
No. Thank you.
Okay. In the testing, we discuss about levels of independence. Okay. So what is levels of independence? The more independence you have, you will find more and unique defects.
Okay.
So how? I say. So this will go from the least independence to most independence. Okay. So the developer who wrote the code, yes. The developer who wrote the code, if the same person is testing, this person won't find defects or a defect. Why? Because it is the developer's understanding.
Yeah, it's too optimistic.
Yes. And based on his understanding or based on her understanding, the developer has built the code.
Okay.
So definitely it won't find any defect or a bug. It will have little bit more independence if the another person from the development team, another developer or another person from the development team test the software. Yes. Because it is another person, so the other person will have a different ideology, different perception. the person will be able to find more defects. But as the person works in the development team as a developer, they will have close relations. Yes, we have to assume that and say, then they if they find the defect, they will leave it. Okay, this person will feel offended, why should I raise it? Yes, if the person who is sitting next to you quality checking your work, they might have some prejudice and think that okay, he or she is my good friend. If I find this and raise an issue in the code, that person will feel offended.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, or he says what he will think or she will think. So sometimes they intentionally do not raise.
Okay.
That's why it has less but more independence than the person who wrote. A person from a different group. If a person from a different group tests the software, yes, then it will have more independence than the above two. So how does it? An independent test team in an organization or the test specialist. So here comes these contractors. Yes, as for example, you are expert in security testing, then you are test specialist and you will test only security testing. And you have an independent testing, in that team only testers will be there. These people, these testers will test the software. As they do not have any close contacts with the person who wrote the code, they will raise more and unique defects. But the most independence is the person from a different organization. Yes. So if a person from outside your organization tests the software, then it has the most independence, because the person does not know the developers, the person does not know anyone in organization A. Yes.
Yeah.
So that person will only concentrate on the requirements, what the software should do. Yes. What is the software? What should be the software's behavior? Yes. And this is the reasons this person who is working outside the organization will find the most and unique defects or bugs. And because of this, the software becomes more stable. So that's why we have the outsourcing kind of thing. And when you outsource it for just testing task, you will be able to fix and you are able to deliver a quality software. Any question?
A person from different organization, it is most independence, right?
Yes, most independent.
Okay. You write down in list independence, that's why I'm confusing.
No, it says from least independence to most independence. So I have put 2 lines there.
Okay.
Yes. So from least you are going to most.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other question?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we also deal with psychology of testing. Whenever we find defects, it affects the human. Yes. And that's why we have to deal with the failures, views on the failures.
Okay.
So if you find a defect and if you raise as a tester, what do you think? A job done. Yes, a job well done. Whenever you find a defect as a tester, you become more happy.
Yeah.
Because it is our task as a tester to find more and more defects. Time and money saved. When you find defects, you say that if the same defect was found, if it is found after the software has been released or it is in the production, it will cost you more money and time. So whenever we find a defect, we say that okay, it saves time and money and it reduces the risk. Yes, whenever we find a defect as a tester, we think a job well done, time and money saved, and the reduced risk. If you release a software with defects, the software will fail, and if the software fails, it will have more and more risks. People can hack. When you are at the work time, it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, what you can do? You waste time. So you say that it saves time and money and reduce risk. But what the developers think when you raise yes defects, criticism of their work. Yes, they think that as a tester you are criticizing their work, whatever the work they are doing, you are criticizing it. They also think that it is criticism of themselves. Yes, so if this situation occurs, there will be misunderstanding and there will be conflict. You can say in simple way, there can be a fight between testers and developer. Yes,
Yeah.
the developers are working, you are quality checking their work, and if you raise defects, there will be conflicting situations and fight. So how can you resolve this kind of situation? How can you overcome this scenario? So how you overcome this situation? Yes, discuss next.
Yeah.
So whenever you find a defect, what you need to do? First thing, you don't criticize a person or anything or author. What you need to do? You have to have the evidence and you need to concentrate on the bug itself, not the person. So what possible approach you can say? Promote collaboration, not battles. Yes. So how you can say that you need to pass a message that we work for the same project. Yes,
Yeah.
and the common intention is to deliver a quality product.
Okay. Yeah.
So if we do this way, we can avoid these conflicts, battles, and we work as a team collaboratively. Remind all the common goal. What is the common goal of the team? The common goal is to deliver quality software. So we need to tell testers and developers that our main intention is to deliver quality software.
Yeah.
Communicate failures found in a neutral, fact-focused way. So whenever you raise a bug or defects, yes, you need to report it or report them in a neutral way. So what you need to do? You need to take evidence and you need to mention that you are testing so and so requirements and you found this requirement is not being met. Yes,
Okay.
you need to write in a way that you are not targeting any person, you are just talking about providing the facts. Yes, provide facts. How you provide the facts means whenever you raise a bug, you need to describe the bug, you need to link the requirements, you need to link the test case, and you need to mention clearly what is your expected outcome and what you have received, what is your actual outcome, and attach the evidence and say that. So you are providing the facts, so it will not create any battles. Do not criticize the author.
Okay.
Yes. So if you are analyzing the requirements, You don't say that this product owner does not know how to write the requirements. Yes. If you are reviewing the test plan, or if you are reviewing my test cases, it means another person's test cases, then you don't say that, oh, you don't know how to write the test cases, you don't know how to analyze the requirement. This is not the way. You need to focus on the bug you found, not target on the person. Whenever you find, you can say, I assume this is my understanding of the requirement, and if it would be me, I would have written. So you discuss it. Yes.
Yeah.
And whenever you criticize any person, you need to understand, you need to feel what the other person thinks. If somebody abuses you or someone shouts at you, you will feel offended. Yes.
Yeah.
In the same manner, we have to understand, and that's why we have to understand how other person feel. Yes.
Okay.
If there is any conflict, if you have raised some defects and the developers are not happy and angry, then you need to understand why they have reacted like this. Yes.
Yeah.
Understand why they reacted as they do. Yes. So instead of going and fighting with them, you need to understand why they are feeling offended, and you need to try to resolve this issue. And how you can resolve with this issue? Whenever in your testing career, if you find a bug, you don't state who wrote the bug, means what created, what error was there, and because of that you found the bug. But you need to provide evidence, and you say that this is the requirement, this is the test case you were executing, and this specific test case, this was your expected result, and this is what you found, and attach the evidence. Yes.
Yeah.
Confirm the other person understands you. Yes. Whenever you are passing any comment, on whenever you are explaining the requirement, or whenever you are raising a bug, you need to confirm with the other person that the person understood you. Yes. Otherwise, what you have said might be understandable to you, but the person might be thinking in a different way.
Yeah.
Yes. Your statement might be clear to you, but this particular statement might be ambiguous.
Okay.
So what if the statement is ambiguous? The person assumes in a different way. So always confirm with the other person that the other person understands you.
Yeah.
Any question?
Means you right now how to overcome this situation, but how to communicate with developer this one?
Confirm which one?
We say how to overcome this situation. So we have a common goal. We have a means how do we communicate these things with developers?
Okay, so you work with developers, yes?
Yeah.
So whenever you find a bug,
Yeah.
in any document,
Okay.
or if you find a bug in the software itself, what you need to do is, for example, I wrote a statement that go to London ASAP.
Yeah.
This is a requirement written by me, author. Yes.
Yeah.
So when you are passing and giving me feedback, you need to forget this, who wrote this one, you don't know, means this is blank. You need to say that I assume, I feel this requirement is not clear. Yes.
Yeah.
You can say the word assume, the word ASAP is misguiding. It can have different meanings in different, this is just I put it like that, different situations. So here you don't know, you say that ASAP, and ASAP you can explain more. ASAP, what does ASAP mean? Or if you don't want to write anything, you can say what does ASAP mean. If you want to go more, you can say 5 minutes, 5 hours, etc.
Okay.
That's why here we have mentioned report them in a neutral way.
Yeah.
You need to be specific and neutral. When you are executing any test case, you always provide screenshots, evidence. Without evidence, you won't be able to perform your duty. Yes?
Okay. Yeah.
Any other question?
No.
Then how can you be a good tester? Yes? What makes a good tester? If you want to be a good tester, you should be curious.
Okay.
Yes? How does the system work? What does this requirement mean? Yes? How the calculation is done? Anything, you ask as many questions as possible. Okay? So if you have quite curiosity, then ask as many questions as possible. Remember one thing in testing: no question is stupid question in testing. Yes?
Okay. Yeah.
If somebody asks you something and you ask another question, if somebody is explaining you the requirement, yes, you need to. When I say go to London ASAP, you think that okay, no need to ask, but you need to ask literally, what does ASAP mean?
Yeah.
Yes. If they ask about the recruitment module, create a group, then ask what is a group.
Yeah.
You might understand it's a group, but you need to understand and ask. Yes.
Yeah.
Be professionally pessimistic.
Pessimistic.
Pessimistic means negative thinking.
Okay.
The software won't work. You need to be pessimistic professionally. Why professionally? You don't be pessimistic in your daily life, in your personal life.
Okay.
Yes, but
Yeah.
professionally, whenever the software will deliver, you need to be specific. The software won't work, you will find some defects.
Work.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
A critical eye. You should be in the critical eye to find defects. If you don't have critical eye, you won't be able to find defects.
What is critical eye?
You are going to criticize someone. Whenever something is there, you are critical. Yes, critic of something. As for example, I give you very good example. Yes, whatever good you do, somebody is there to criticize you. That is criticism. Yes.
Yeah.
If I give you some example of sports, however good performance the players are showing, some people will think that okay, they should have done better. Yes.
Yeah.
So that is called critical eye. You are always ready to criticize people.
Okay. You have to be that.
That is the simple way. Means the simple way to understand is you are there to find the faults. Look for faults.
Looking for.
Yes. Critical eye. A critic of something. Yes, criticizing something.
Yeah.
every day, everywhere. You can say, okay, this is no good. This is there. Attention to details. Any requirement or anything you are testing, you need to fully understand in detail. Okay?
Yeah.
Not just you understood overall stuff. No, that is not. You need to understand in detail how it works.
Okay.
And you should be a good communicator. Good communicator doesn't mean that you should be able to speak fluent English like the British people do. If you are in the UK, that's what I'm getting. Good communicator means whatever you need to pass information, that information you should be able to pass without any ambiguity.
Yeah.
That is known as good communicator.
Communicator. Yeah.
Straight, point to point.
Yeah.
Speak point to point. If you want to pass one information, okay, pass one piece of information, yes. If you make the story, that is not a good communicator. Yes, you can't be.
Yeah.
Straight away say point to point. What you want to say, point to point. And if you say point to point, that makes you good communicator. That is the end of chapter 1. Any question?
Okay. What including attention to details?
So any requirement from testing point of view, you must be testing one requirement. Yes.
Okay.
If you understand a scenario or a topic, you understand that one completely in detail.
Okay.
That is known attention to detail. If somebody is speaking, then pay attention there. Don't think that okay, you will understand later on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that is attention to detail. Whatever processes is there in testing, when you are testing any requirement, understand that particular requirement completely. It is not that you need to know the whole software.
Okay.
Nobody will be able to know or test the whole software. It is not. But whatever requirement is given to you, whatever the test case is given to you, you should understand them completely in detail. That is known as attention to detail.
To detail.
Whatever you are doing, you enjoy the beats and piece. So you pay attention and literally understand each and every word.
Yeah.
That is attention to detail. Not overall, okay, the teacher said this one, I will read in the book and write in the exam. Not that like that. You need to understand. If you are sleeping and somebody wakes and he said that explain me this process, you should be able to explain the process which you have tested.
Yeah.
Any question?
No, thank you.
Okay, let's go to the chapter number 2.
Okay, chapter 2.